And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Welcome back. We're doing movie night again. It's been a while since we've done one of these. This is episode 10.
What was the last one?
Technically, the last one was the Nicolas Cage one, but unfortunately, that was on my doomed hard drive that fell off my desk.
Oh.
So
we lost the Nicolas Cage movie?
we lost the Nicolas Cage one.
But that was such a good one!
I know. We may have to refresh our memory and re-record that one, because that was a really good movie.
That is tragic.
There's a lot of footage. Most of the We Were Here Forever footage was on that hard drive, too, when it died. Sad.
Fuck.
I'm getting sidetracked already. So, while I was over in the UK on vacation recently, we went out to see a movie, and it was not really... It did not meet expectations, let's say. We were watching Cocaine Bear, which premise sounded funny, title sounded funny. I didn't see the poster. That might have been funny.
The poster was like a black poster with the white silhouette of a bear rearing up, and like... it didn't look horrific, but it didn't look like super friendly, but it looked... I mean, it's called Cocaine Bear. That should say it all.
Yeah. So, for those that don't know, this actually, before we get too deep, two caveats right off the bat. Overall, I don't think either of us had a very positive opinion of this movie. And two, we didn't end up finishing it. We actually left the theater about 10 to 15 minutes before it was scheduled to end.
Yeah.
So, this is actually the second movie in my life that I've walked out of. The first one was called, like, The Mist or The Fog. It was this really shitty horror movie from, like, it was, like, in the mid-2000s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it takes a lot for me to not finish a movie, but honestly, I was willing to sit through it if you guys were, but then when you leaned over and like, yeah, we're going to get out of here, I'm like, yeah, me too.
Yeah, it was... Well, we'll go through it chronologically.
Yeah, we'll go through it. And I think that the thing that finally pushed it over the edge to get out, like, it was a standard, like, what it ended up being was a very generic, like, B to C tier slasher, quote-unquote, horror movie. And really the only reason you'd go in there to watch it is to watch really unlikable people get mauled to death by a bear.
And... I think the 15 rating...
Yeah.
I mean, I think a 15-year-old could have watched it and been fine, but I think most 15-year-olds would not have been happy with that.
That's the thing, yeah. So you guys have a different movie rating system over there. I'm curious what it was, because it was 15 or up over there. Our rating system, the jump is from 13 up to 17. So I'm pretty sure this one got an R rating in the US, but let me just check.
So you've also got a 21 rating there, haven't you?
We got an 18 rating, but that's pretty much only for porn.
Really? Not horror?
No. Horror usually tops out at R, which is 17.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, we go from 15 to 18.
Yeah, you guys do that with video games too, I've noticed. Our video game rating ends at 17 too, but there's also an 18 plus, which is AO. Yeah, it's rated
mean again?
Restricted, and
restricted,
it was rated R in the US, so it's 17 plus over here, which I'm not surprised by. The movie was essentially gore porn.
But the thing is, like, that had the same age rating as the fucking Star Wars, the one where Luke basically has to survive right at the beginning of the film a snowstorm by cutting open his pack mule and sleeping inside it, which is grim as a thought, but you don't really see any of it, and if you close your eyes for about 5 seconds, the rest of the film is like a 12.
Yeah, and I'd argue that movie, like, that's not the point of the movie is come and see Luke Skywalker cut open his snow donkey. No. The point of the movie is, like, it's the rest of the...
I thought you said that was what it was about. I was like, wait.
But that's my point.
I went there for a very different reason.
That's not the point of the movie. So that rating makes sense. Because like you said, you close your eyes, that bit's over, and you move on. But the rest of the movie, it's all within context. This movie was just watch a whole bunch of people get killed in increasingly unpleasant-looking ways.
Yeah, with very little character progression, so you didn't much care for the people that were dying. All you cared about was the fact that it was a person dying.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when people, like, someone gets, you know, punched on the nose very hard, and you instinctively find yourself scratching your nose.
Yeah, or you kind of feel, like, tingly there, like you... Yeah.
Except you'd walk out of this film feeling tingly over your entire fucking body.
Yeah. So let's get started with the plot. So first of all, this movie is loosely based on a true story. There was actually let me clarify. There was an instance where cocaine was thrown out of a plane and a bear did eat it, but the bear died like instantly.
Like instantly, yeah. So them putting it at the beginning of the film based on a true story. They even put that in the film, not just in the advert, in the film. And it's like, okay, you make it sound like this is a real world horror thing that actually happened. No one died.
Yeah. So let's run through the cast of characters real quick, because I feel like with horror movies, to quote Zero Punctuation, in B-tier horror movies, like the cast of characters is essentially a scoreboard. You're just waiting for them to die off.
Right.
I'm misquoting that badly, but so we've got let's see if I can get through all of them. You've got the single mom and her daughter.
Well, before they start, even there's characters.
Right. So, I actually was looking. I really enjoyed the opening scene where there's this guy who's like a drug runner on like a shitty like biplane, and he's clearly high as fuck. He's got aviators on. Good. He's like dancing in the plane as he throws the bags of cocaine out the plane to the drop point. Yeah. And then he bangs his head on the way out, knocks himself out, and he dies because the parachute doesn't.
Because that happens first. I thought because it's a 15, I was thinking what was going to happen was he might have knocked his head like the way he did, but I thought he'd get cut in half by the tail fin.
Oh yeah, no.
So I thought it was going to be even worse than it was at the beginning. Which it wasn't. It was very. They didn't show him hitting the ground or anything.
Yeah. I will say that if you like that sort of thing, the gore kind of ramps up. Like, it starts at the beginning with kind of mild violence and then just gets worse and worse and worse as the movie goes on. Yeah. Which, if you're into that sort of thing, A, seek help, but B, the movie is paced well that way. Anyway, yeah, the part you're thinking of, there are these two... One guy's... He sounds like he's Swedish or...
Yeah.
Nordic of some variety.
Explorers.
He's got...
No, that's not even the right word. Go on.
Yeah, he's got that the lilting Norwegian Swedish kind of accent to him,
kind of hippie-ish.
Yeah, the two hippie people, wandering around. They're in love. Oh, they're engaged or something, and or maybe they're on their honeymoon. They're taking pictures of wildlife, and they're
talking about
a wedding,
their potential marriage.
Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking maybe they're. Oh yeah, so that's right. So they're probably engaged. Yeah. Anyway. So they have this lovey-dovey walk through the wilderness, and then like, oh, look, a bear. Oh, what's it doing? And the bear is like ramming its head up against a tree. Yeah. Clearly already high out of its mind. They debate.
Well, the dude's like, oh, this isn't right. We need to get out of here. I was honestly surprised by the level of sense that the man had.
Yeah.
Because normally they have less sense than that.
Yeah. And to be fair,
was a fucking idiot.
Yeah, she did everything wrong. She wanted to stay and look at the bear more, and then he's like, okay, if a bear's coming at you, black bear, you charge it, brown bear, you run away. I'm not sure if that's right. Don't take that as advice.
I think that was like a Wikipedia thing or something. Yeah. They made a joke about Wikipedia, where it's like, if you see a bear in the woods, do this, and then they follow up with, this was taken from Wikipedia, so it's like...
Yeah, so it's maybe not true.
Yeah. So that was pretty funny. In fairness, I think that was probably the funniest joke they did.
Yeah. The beginning of the movie had a lot of potential. There was a lot of moments in the beginning where I was like, oh, I could see this going well. Okay, that made me laugh. So anyway, those two the woman gets killed, I think. The guy maybe gets away, but he sees her getting dragged off and her disembodied leg gets thrown out at him. And again, still fairly tepid. It looks like a Halloween shop limb that gets thrown back.
I mean, it's a bit grim the way that she gets dragged backwards into the brush. But the leg flying out afterwards was kind of comical.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not my kind of thing. I don't like slasher movies. If there's
No.
You were talking about the Star Wars comparison earlier. If there's gore or something like that in a movie, I like it to serve a purpose or to be, part of what's doing the world building, the plot. A good example of this, I think, is Troy, the movie Troy from 2004 or something. I love that movie. It does get very bloody, especially in the combat scenes, but it's all there to kind of serve the plot. It's not just there because we like seeing blood and guts.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now cut to some of the main cast characters. They start to get introduced. So there's single mom and her daughter. There's the fat older police officer who they find the guy that fell out of the plane and splattered on the ground.
Yep.
There is the two former drug dealer guys. The one who's the son of their drug boss, and the one that's...
the two, yeah.
Yeah, and then the I really like the black guy. The
black guy was pretty fucking cool.
He's like the only one in that group that seemed to have his head on his shoulders. Let's see. There were the three stooges, the dumbass thieves who were like robbing people in the national park.
Yep. There's two people so far.
The fat...
three people.
The fat ranger lady.
No, you mentioned that. So there's the police officer.
No, I'm talking about... Yeah, I mentioned him first.
Oh, I thought that was the ranger lady.
No. The fat police officer that finds the guy that fell out of the plane.
Yeah.
I hadn't gotten to her yet. So I'm kind of working my way closer to the park in my head here. So there's the park ranger lady who is trying to hit on the nature conservationist guy.
Yeah.
Which there was actually a line in their dynamic that made me chuckle. Like he's like she had like a taxidermied beaver on the desk.
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh, you got a dusty beaver," and she's like, "Oh, I'm working on that." I got a chuckle out of that one.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? Oh, there's the little girl's friend.
There you go.
The blonde kid, who,
she's his friend from school.
From school, yeah, and so because her mom won't take her to the nature park because she has a date or something. So she goes to the park, skips school with him to go out there. This is all the things that get all of these people into this location.
Yes.
Because the national park is also, it's where the bear is. It's also where the secret drop point for the cocaine is. If the guy was going to go down in the plane, he was supposed to drop it all off over this park. And so that's why the drug dealers are going over there. That's why the cop is going over there. I mean, the park ranger, she's supposed to be there. Three Stooges are there to rob people. The girl goes there with her friend to paint a waterfall or something like that.
Yeah.
Which, isn't that like defacing a national park if they... I don't know. Anyway,
no, I think painting like a picture on a piece of paper.
I thought she was painting the actual... I'm an idiot.
Yeah, you...
The whole time I was thinking...
How would you paint a waterfall, Kaiser? It's a waterfall.
You just put paint on the rocks.
That's not... It just wash off.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my God.
No, I had no idea. Okay. I just, the whole time. And then the mom goes there because she finds out the kids are missing and is trying to seek them out and recover them. So that's the excuses for everyone going there. And then just escalating violence. I think the drug dealers get there and they get into, like, the black guy gets into a tussle with the three thief people and kicks the shit out of them in the bathroom.
Yeah.
But gets mildly stabbed, so he wakes...
I'm not sure why cocaine made them violent.
I don't think it made them violent. They were just thieves. They were trying to rob him.
Yeah.
They didn't do the cocaine.
They did?
No, they found it and they hid it, but they didn't do it.
I think they took some and then they hid the rest, was what I understood from the story. Because
Okay,
that's why they even tried attacking the dude, because they wouldn't normally... They're fucking pathetic. They wouldn't have tried that otherwise.
That's what the park ranger lady said. She said that there were thieves wandering around and robbing people at knife point in the around there, and that's
I
them.
mean, and because they've been taking cocaine and attacking people, I thought.
No, I don't think that was what happened.
Either way, it ends up the same way.
Yeah, so they attack the guy. He kicks the shit out of them, and they wake one of them up and use him to lead them to where they hid the cocaine because they found some of it. Also, they have the little kids doing cocaine for some reason.
Well, yeah, they eat the. I was like, not being massive on drug paraphernalia. If you ate the cocaine, what kind of effect would that have compared to, huffing it the normal way?
I mean, it probably would have a similar effect. Like it wouldn't be as immediate, but you still have membranes in your throat. It would still absorb, and then when it got down into your stomach, it would absorb into your bloodstream. It would just be more delayed. But yeah, so the little boy tries to look cool for his friend there and says, "Oh yeah, I do cocaine all the time." And so they end up. I was just like, are they actually going to show two kids like eating cocaine? Okay, fine, they did. So they eat cocaine. Then they get attacked by the bear. They don't get killed though. They
no. She supposedly gets
chased off or something. Yeah,
but she can apparently run through a jungle faster than a bear that we find out later is faster than a car.
Yeah, you're right. It is. Anyway, so we don't find out what happens to them right away. Instead, we cut back to the mom who shows up at the ranger station, right?
Yep.
I'm not putting too much effort in keeping these events in the proper order because honestly, you could rearrange them randomly, and as long as
as long as the deaths lined up, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, so just know that. This is going to be the laziest plot synopsis I think I've done. They go. The mother shows up and she's talking to park ranger lady and the guy she's trying to hit on, nature conservatist guy. And it's like, oh, my daughter's missing, and so they go out there, and the cop, or the, what's her face, ranger lady, she begrudgingly agrees to take the mother with them so she can look for her daughter while they're going and patrolling.
Yeah.
And this is where I think, so this is where I'm talking about where the why I think the guys had been robbing people for a while. Because the lady is like, she's packing a revolver because there have been like these knife robberies going on for a while. Honestly, it's a smart idea.
Oh, yeah. There was a big thing about like, oh my god, you've got a gun? It's like, you're a ranger
park rangers
in America.
They all have guns.
Yeah, I was like, maybe that's not a thing for rangers over there, but it seems a bit odd anyone would be surprised.
Yeah, they shouldn't have been surprised at all. Like, that's just, that's part of the normal kit. There was a national park, like a but it was run by the National Park Service, but it was like essentially old mill buildings and stuff around where I used to live. Yeah. And the park rangers there wore guns. Like, there was...
Yeah, you don't want fucking poachers to shoot you or something.
Let's think, they weren't even animals. Like, that actually that's a thing that happens out in the Midwest. Oh, yeah. Like, people hunting animals out of season. It's a serious crime, so some of them will actually just shoot the rangers if they think they're going to get caught. Anyway. So they go off into the woods, and this is where they encounter the boy, and he's, like, up a tree.
Yeah.
And... he's like panicked and way up the tree, and he's telling them to be careful, that there's a bear. And conservationist guy is like, oh, what did you do to piss off the bear? It wouldn't normally attack. How could you do this? And anyway, it all ends up with the bear attacking them. And
well, the conservationist just fucking rubs his face in a pile of cocaine.
Yeah.
While trying to run away from the bear.
Yeah. He climbs a tree.
The lady gets wounded by the bear. He gets wounded by the bear.
Yeah, so...
and the lady runs off with the gun.
Yeah, to clarify, the park ranger lady, not the mother.
Yes, sorry, yes.
And yeah, she specifically... he takes a bite out of her ass because she makes that line later, because that's... it's supposed to be funny! Anyway,
they did the same line in John Wick, to be fair. You shot me in the ass. Stop shooting me in the ass. Oh wait, no, you haven't seen it. I forgot who I was with. Oh my god.
I've only seen up to the third one. That's
small spoiler.
I'll look forward to that joke. Anyway, conservationist guy gets eaten alive. Mother and the little boy get away, and park ranger lady also gets away. After I thought she was going to end up accidentally shooting like conservationist guy. She was just blind firing into a bush at one point.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so she goes back to her ranger station. Mother and coked up kid go wandering through the woods to try and find the girl who got away.
Have we talked about the dude getting ripped apart?
I said he got killed, but I didn't go into detail.
Okay. Yeah, but not going into detail, but the bear's climbing the tree after the kid. Which...
Oh, and
that bear knew that the woman was like 2 inches away, and he decided to climb the fucking tree.
Yeah.
And then it takes the bear like, let's say 20 seconds to get up to near where the child is.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bear sniffs the little bit of cocaine on the wind from the dude's face.
And then goes
and it is off that tree and fully up the other tree in like 3 seconds flat.
Yeah.
That just a bit... kind of annoyed me because they established how long it would take and suddenly they threw that rule out the window less than a minute after they had set it.
The lesson that this movie is giving to the people who watch it is cocaine gives you superpowers. Instead of just killing you. But, yeah, so that guy gets ripped apart.
Yeah.
And this is where, like, the gore starts to escalate, because it's a lot more graphic how he gets ripped apart and eaten.
Yeah. And the kid looks completely unfazed by it, but he's like, this is the kind of thing that'll scar me for life. Like, not at all broken up. Not sad, not crying.
Just acknowledging the fact that, oh yeah, I'm a child that just saw a murder.
I'm a robot. I just saw a man get ripped apart.
Beep, poop, blood come out. Yeah, so they wander off into the woods. There's a few scenes intercut where the two drug dealers are talking with the thief guy, and drug dealer, who's the son of the drug boss, has like a heart-to-heart with the kid, and they have a weird hug. Yeah. And this again just reinforced the black guy being my favorite character in this dynamic, because he's just in the background just like, what the fuck is going on here?
He almost didn't want... It seemed like he didn't want to be in the film. Like,
it's one of those things like, I'm getting a paycheck.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a few actors in this that I was like, I think I've seen him in something before. And I can't think of what, but yeah. Sure. So I think this is where we cut back to...
the ranger station.
Yeah, the ranger station. So the lady gets back, and the other two thief kids have both woken up and are in there, like, robbing the place. But she, I mean, either doesn't care or has bigger things to worry about, or they fool her. It doesn't matter.
Thing is, they're not even robbing the place. They literally went in there and called an ambulance. Because they've been beaten up by the dude. And then they start robbing it in front of her.
Yeah, well, she's trying to get more ammo for her pistol.
Yeah.
God. Excuse me. Yeah, so they prepare, like, this is where she goes, like, the kids think that she's talking about the two drug dealers. She's talking about the bear, and so when she says, he took a bite out of my ass, and the kids are like, oh my god, he really is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, and at this point also, police officer, there's a few scenes where police officer guy has made it to the forest now. So he's also wandering around. Right. The cop who found the guy who fell out of the plane.
Has he got a shotgun or something?
I think he just has a pistol.
He has a pistol as well. Okay.
Yeah, I think
someone had a big gun. No, the black dude picks up a big gun after the toilet scene.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he has...
Pulls it out of his truck.
Yeah, he gets the gun out of the car. Yeah, so they prepare an ambush for the bear, and this ends horribly because, I mean,
They do? When? Who?
The ranger station people. Because remember, like, fat thief guy is ready to pull open the door. Ranger lady is
they
posed.
still think it's a dude that she's...
Yeah, but she's got her pistol trained at the door, like, it's going to be there. And, like, a fucking... This made me cringe on multiple levels. From a...
Yeah.
Like, it was not pleasant to look at, and B, from a gun safety perspective.
It was just stupid. Right. You go.
So he throws open the door. She misses the bear and hits the fat kid in the head.
Not even that. The door opens. There's like 3 seconds of the bear staring at them, and the dude like leaning over, being like, "Oh, it's a bear."
And then she shoots him in the back of the head.
And then she shoots him in the back of the head.
And you see it full frontal, like right in your face. And
I totally saw it coming, so it wasn't too bad. But
yeah, it didn't. I think, if I remember right, I just rolled my eyes when that happened. Again, not pleasant to look at, but not unexpected at this point in the movie. Mm-hmm. This is, I think, that is one of the points where I stopped like having any hope for it actually being a good movie. Like, or not even good, just entertaining. Because, there's some bad movies that are at least entertaining.
By the way, since we've started this, I've actually thought up how they could have actually made this a way better film by changing one single aspect. But I'll speak about it later.
Yeah, let's save that for the end, because I'm curious to hear that. Shit, where was I? Yeah, so that happens, the bear gets in there, and...
No, he doesn't. He's stuck outside the house.
Do they close the door again or something?
They just... The bear just, like, walks off around the side.
Oh, is that... Yeah.
Because it's, like, gets on the roof eventually.
Yeah, and there's some kind of a horror scene where the bear's trying to get in, and they're in the station and stuff.
The camera pans to the dude leaning up against the wall next to the glass porthole, and it's, like, one next to the other, and it's, like, so fucking obvious. But... how the fuck would the bear know to do that?
Cocaine. It makes it a genius, too, apparently.
Sees through fucking walls!
So the other thing I should mention, I realized I forgot. They called an ambulance because the woman had for the woman's, like, ass injury.
No, the two people called the ambulance for getting beaten up by the guy before she arrived.
Okay, so they had already called the ambulance at that point. Okay. I knew that for whatever reason the ambulance was on its way. I just couldn't remember who called it. Anyway, so that scene cuts, and it's just implied that they're getting slaughtered. What happens next? I think the police officer goes to a gazebo, the gazebo that the drug dealers are heading towards, and he finds the cocaine bag there.
Yeah.
That they're going to find, that the thief kids hid. Mother and little boy are still trying to find the daughter, but they're hiking through a field.
They find some not blood on a rock. Yeah,
that's right. She had left a trail of paint for them to follow while outrunning a bear.
Yes.
Keep in mind.
I'm so curious how it happened, but I'm not going to end up going back to seeing the end. So
no. Also, it's not really relevant, but the police officer wanted to get a dog from an adoption place, and they sent him like a little toy dog with a little bow in its hair. And he was hoping for like a lab or something, but then
that's not how you adopt a dog.
No.
Anywhere. Just like, give me a dog. Here's a booster pack.
You just get a random dog.
Hopefully you get a shiny. Oh wait, this one's got mange.
No. Yeah, so I think at this point the ambulance turns up. Does anyone else get slaughtered before the ambulance turns up? I don't think.
No. Okay. The only people that die outside of that shack before this point is the dude that gets killed in the tree. That's it.
And fiancé from the beginning.
It almost all happens in that shack.
Yeah. Anyway, so an ambulance does show up. There are two new characters. There's skinny ambulance dude and Asian ambulance lady. They get out and they open the door and they're like, oh, what do we got here? And they're like, oh, they called us because of a headache or some bruises or something like that. Whatever it was that they told them on the phone. They open the door and they can't open the door because there's bodies in front of it. or a body in front of it. When they finally get it open, they see Gunshot Kid, and then they find there's some throwaway line that's supposed to be funny about, oh, they just called us for a headache, and they find park ranger lady with her arm missing, like bleeding out in a corner.
Yeah.
And
so she decided to put, like, the thing you use to hear people's heart rate. Like, oh, that'll really fucking help.
Yeah, because she's, like, going, bah, 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 too softly, and so she can't hear what she's saying or something. Meanwhile, skinny ambulance guy is trying to look around and opens the back room and finds the bear, like, snacking on one of the thief kids right at the moment when Asian ambulance lady puts the stethoscope up to the park ranger's mouth and she goes, bear.
Yeah. And then she looks like, the ambulance driver lady looks amazed and shocked and horrified, where normally if someone just said bear to you, you wouldn't assume instantly that a bear had A, murdered them all, and B, was still in the vicinity. She looked like she was suddenly, like, been told that, you know, Nazis were hiding under the carpet.
Yeah.
Right? It someone says bear to me, like, okay, a bear did this, is what I assume.
Yeah.
Not, oh shit, we gotta go.
Yeah, but fortunately, that leap in logic is quickly corrected because the bear bursts out, knocks the door down, and now has skinny ambulance guy pinned under the door.
Doesn't crush him to death.
Yeah, a bear weighs... How much? A black bear weighs like 600-700 pounds.
Especially a black bear that's just had, like, several meals in quick succession.
A black bear... Oh, okay. Yeah, a male adult can weigh up to 660 pounds. That's 250... No, more than 250... Sorry, the average is 555, which is 250 kilograms.
Can you compare that to something for me so that... Because I can't visualize it.
All right, 500 pounds... That's like, you know, if you had a fully, like, say, like that bookcase behind me.
Yeah.
If that was made of solid wood, like, because that's a cheap one, but if it was made of solid wood and fully loaded with books, that'd probably be close. So it'd be like having a fully loaded, solid oak bookcase fall on your chest.
Okay, because I kind of think of a bear being almost kind of the same weight as a car.
You're thinking of, like, a grizzly bear or, like, a... Yeah, I think grizzly bears are...
Because that's a big fucking bear.
Grizzly bears can weigh up to 1,300 pounds, almost twice as much. And that is the weight of a small car. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, grizzly bears do weigh a lot. Anyway. So, falls on his chest, and he's panicking now because the bear's right there on him. And Asian chick manages to... Instead of just running for her life, she picks up the wounded lady, the wounded park ranger lady, gets her strapped into the ambulance.
Doesn't call for help.
No. There's no cell phone, no radio. Like, these
Which
are...
you definitely don't have in a fucking ambulance.
Well, the thing is, these are emergency personnel. They probably should be...
Like, there would be a police radio.
They should be trained, too, to, like, know what to do if something like this... Especially if they're going out to a park. Animal injuries are going to be... Also... It seems odd that only the ambulance was deployed. A lot of the times in the U.S., when you call emergency services, you get all of them. Like, they'll send an ambulance, but they'll also send police out as well.
Huh.
Depending.
You got it over here, I don't think.
Yeah, it tends to... It might be different from state to state, but I that's the way I thought it worked. Anyway. Oh, what was I just saying? Oh, yeah, so she gets her strapped in, gets into the ambulance. Skinny ambulance guy hits the bear in the face with something, or he in some way manages to get out.
That made no sense how he got out from underneath the door, out of the cabin with so much time.
Yeah,
it made zero sense.
Something distracted the bear for a moment, and I remember he hit it in the face, but that just made the bear angry. Maybe it smelled coke. No, I get it. I remember what happened. So he had his medical bag, which looked just like the bags that had the cocaine in it. And so the bear saw that and thought it was more cocaine and ran over to rip open the medical bag.
The cocaine was in, like, black cellophane.
It was in duffel bags. And inside the duffel bags was the black cellophane.
Oh, okay.
So you had the bricks of cocaine, and the bricks of cocaine were inside the duffel bags. So
sees now, not only cocaine bear anymore, any drugs that were inside of that bag.
Yeah, I think the bear gets pissed, which is why it ends up chasing them, because there was no more cocaine in there.
A jar of laxatives he happened to have on him.
Honestly, it would have been fun. It probably wouldn't have ended the same way, but, they probably had morphine on him. The bear eats some morphine, and then it goes to sleep instead of being high on cocaine. Anyway, so he gets out and runs. He tells the lady to drive, and she floors it before he even gets in the car.
Right? She's, almost trying to stay just ahead of him, it felt like.
Yeah, it's like all she had to do was slow down a little bit until he was on and then floor it. And she could have really floored it. Those ambulances use the same engines as, Ford pickup trucks, so they could really haul ass. Which is why it was weird that the bear was able to keep up with the ambulance.
Yeah, not just keep up, but go quite a bit faster.
Yeah, and
this is a fucking leopard of a bear.
And this is where we're getting to the point, we're actually, in the plot so far, this is around the time where we just left, because of this next scene. The bear does eventually catch up after the park ranger lady with her remaining arm, and she's still got her pistol. She, is taking shots out the back of the ambulance, which they haven't been able to close the door.
I was so sure she was going to shoot the dude hanging onto the door.
Yeah. I think the only reason that didn't happen was because they'd done that joke already.
Yeah, I think it would have been better there, though, because it would have made more sense. She's missing an arm, and she's wildly firing out the back of an ambulance, which is moving.
Yeah, and they could have made a joke out of it, and she goes like, "Oh, not again!"
Yeah.
Anyway, the bear catches up. She gets thrown out of the ambulance, and I don't want to hear I'm not going to describe it. I'm just going to say, just for the sake of people listening, it was face to concrete, and it was very unpleasant to watch.
Yes.
Dude gets mauled.
Yeah, the bear jumps into the back of the ambulance.
Yeah.
Kills him, pulls him out the back, and then she just hits a fucking tree.
Yeah. I think there's a scene where he's missing a hand too, which, again, just needlessly over the top gore and violence.
Yeah.
And then Asian lady hits a tree and goes flying out the window. And it was around this point where I think this was almost exactly the point where you leaned over and said, "Yeah, we're."
It was about 10 minutes straight of just people being ripped limb from limb, and it was just exhausting.
Honestly, I had almost a constantly, like people scratching nails on a chalkboard. Yeah. Kind of, it was that feeling for a solid 5 to 10 minutes.
Just a small migraine. Yeah, and then it went on to the next scene, and it was like, okay, here are the next people that are going to die, and I was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah. I think this is they get to the gazebo, the drug dealer people, and then, of course, the cop has found the bag, and so it's not there, and I didn't really hear what happened. I just kind of heard this in the background as we were leaving the theater. And so there were only 10 or 15 minutes left in the movie, so we were coming to the crescendo. There was going to be some kind of an ending. Presumably the mother and the two kids live and everyone else dies.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Here's my prediction for how the movie probably ended. Mother and the two kids lived, and the black dude, drug dealer, he ends up hitting it off with the mother, and the two of them live happily ever after. That's my prediction for the movie's ending. Everyone else gets slaughtered by the bear.
I hope so. Actually, no, I think the policeman didn't deserve to die. The policeman had nothing to do with the entire plot.
I wanted the policeman to go back and fall in love with the little puppy that he got. It wasn't the dog he wanted, but I wanted him to be happy with that dog.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the point we got to. Kaiser, how many spliffs out of 10?
Glyphs?
Spliffs.
Spliffs?
Technically not cocaine. How many?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, how many drug barons out of 10? Barons. There you go.
2.
2.
The only reason I'm not giving it a 1 is there were parts of the movie that did genuinely make me laugh. And there were a couple characters that I didn't actively hate. So it gets a 2.
Yep.
You? How many... God.
There wasn't... It's hard to think of something because nothing happened in the film.
It really is. God. How many botched gunshots out of 10 would you give it?
Well, if it's botched, I would give it 50, but given how we're doing this, 1. Because it's the first and only film I've ever walked out of the cinema for. I didn't enjoy anything except the occasional dumb joke, and they were dumb jokes, they were not intellectual jokes. The characters were unlikable, a lot of the deaths were either foreseeable or just stupid, and I think they could have done far better with the premise.
Yeah. So, God, fucking... You know what that actually... what the movie made me think of just now? Have you seen the movie Idiocracy?
No.
Alright. Quick synopsis of that movie. Guy ends up in the future, and only stupid people have kids, and so the IQ of the world has dropped to, like, nothing. And everything is basically just the lowest common denominator, worst way things could end up. There's a TV channel in the future called The Violence Channel, and the most popular show on it is called Ow My Balls, where a guy gets kicked in the nuts over and over again. And this is the kind of movie that would be on the Violence Channel. It's stupid, the plot is pedestrian and predictable, and it's just there so you can watch people die in increasingly horrific ways.
Yeah.
Anyway,
do you want to hear how I think like they could have made the film better then?
I was about to ask. Well, what's your thought?
Alright. Very simple change. It's not called Cocaine Bear, it's called Weed Bear. Let's say in the typical way with, like, in Glastonbury, a bunch of people take a lot of drugs and then they piss in the river. The river goes downstream.
This is like a festival thing in the UK, for those that don't know.
It's a very popular festival. If it was on Weed Bear, and then you would see, instead of him mass murdering people, he would be, like, dumpster diving. And it'd be, like, really goofy, but he'd be, like, doing all the things that people do when they get high. But it's a bear, and people are, like, terrified, but equally gets anxious because that's what weed does to some people. So it's terrified of people more so than it normally would.
You know what?
You get up to a lot of funny shenanigans.
It's a rethink of the classic, like, stoner movie.
Exactly.
Which
maybe at some point one of the stoner hats with, like, the bucket hats with the weed leaves on fall on them.
I've seen a few of those movies. I'm trying to think of, like, what's it called? Some Pineapple Express was one. That was okay. But, like, what's one of the classic ones? Like, Dude, Where's My Car? That was a one.
Right.
Not necessarily movies about weed, but movies that people would watch high.
Yes.
I would actually, you know what, that premise, I would watch that movie.
Yeah.
I don't do weed at all, but I would still watch that movie. That would be entertaining.
Because that's what people go into that film about. You go into that film being like, I want to see something goofy with a bear taking drugs.
The bear just is, like, wandering through, like, a McDonald's drive-through because it's, like, got the munchies, and it just, like...
Exactly. That's what I meant by the dumpster diving.
And the people are just giving it burgers to get it out of there or something. I would watch that movie. That would be funny.
And maybe, like, I don't know, yeah. Wanted to build a bear or something, I don't know.
And it's just, like, cuddling with all the dogs.
It's just watching the fucking fluff machine in there, and, like, all the fluff coming in and out, and it's like, what is this machine?
God. And it just, like, it's coming up to somebody, and you think it's gonna maul him, and then it just gives him a big hug.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that would be such a better movie.
Oh
my God.
I'd love to see that.
But yeah, so yeah, my final thoughts on this, I think I've pretty much clear. Like, it was just, I gave it a little bit higher than nothing because it had, I think, glimmers of potential.
Yeah, I didn't give it a 0.
Yeah.
But 1 is not a good fucking score.
No. Well, neither's 2.
No.
But yeah, it was, God, I don't know who this movie was, actually, I have no idea who this movie was for.
Yeah.
It was just
I think
bad.
it's for people who are looking to prove their bravado.
Oh yeah, like
also,
you can...
one other thing I should just mention, it's not just us in that movie theatre who thought that it was a shit film.
Oh yeah.
other people walked out after us before the movie had finished.
Yeah.
It was like we left and they were like, oh, thank fuck, other people have left, we can leave too.
Well, you mentioned this when we left too. Like, it was like, I don't know, it's like 10 rows in front of us, like on the other side of the theater, there was a bunch of teenage girls there.
Yeah, like, there were younger people, way younger people than us.
And they stayed to watch the movie. Just like, Jesus.
Maybe it is right for 15-year-olds.
Maybe. I mean, it also could just be a, like, you know, prove that you can watch it sort of thing. Like,
yeah, again, bravado thing.
Yeah, yeah. Just to say they've seen it. Anyway, bad movie.
But, yeah.
Don't watch it.
Let's see if this film studio wants to copyright strike this video.
I mean, it might. One of the the longest.
If they listen to our opinions, they might.
One of the yeah, that's true. We did not have positive things to say about it. Oh well. Anyway, this is going to be the end of episode 10 of Movie Night. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll figure out what we're going to do next.
Ooh.
What?
At some point, we're going to be watching fucking Renfield, and I am super psyched for that. I know Kaiser's pretty fucking psyched for it. Renfield is the Nicolas Cage vampire movie.
Oh, yes! Yes.
And I'm gonna make Kaiser watch the advert for it after we end here.
I'm looking forward to that one.
We're probably going to end up leaving that till Halloween, just because it's a tradition of ours. Well, that is so far away.
It is so far away. We may have to break tradition and find another one to watch sooner. Or at Halloween, I mean.
It's not like we're going to run out of Nicolas Cage films.
Yeah,
anyway, sorry, I keep extending this. You go.
For Halloween, we could potentially do his other vampire movie, the one from 1988, the one I was telling you about. That I've never seen that one. Let's do a vampire comparison. All right, this is going to be the end. Thanks for listening, and hopefully you'll tune in again soon.